Day one of the NFL draft is in the books, and there were a number of surprises on day one. We seen Jeremiah Love go to the Cardinals. The Rams select a quarterback. And did the New York Jets actually win day one? Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, NFL fans, and welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and I'm bringing you the latest around the NFL after day one of the NFL draft. Round one is now complete. Hey, it's time to talk about some stuff. But if you're tuned in, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. As mentioned, day one of the NFL draft is in the books. And man, did we have a number of surprises that happened in round one, in day one of the NFL draft, man. A number of moves were made throughout this entire day. And man, just some of my notable things that I've noticed throughout this process and just following day one and cover it during the live. If you are one that wants to watch it live and listen to live reactions for some of the best guys that are on the web, follow us. Go ahead and tune in, man. We representing for our team specifically, and you can come represent for your team specifically. Let us know how y'all feel it. But the first move that I thought was a bit surprising, not necessarily that much, was the Arizona Cardinals going out there and drafting Jeremiah Love. Initially, I was surprised, but then it started to make a lot of sense. But then I got a little curious as what is the plan now for the Arizona Cardinals by selecting Jeremiah Love. Initially, my thought with the Arizona Cardinals drafting Jeremiah Love was you draft Jeremiah Love, and then later in round one, you potentially trade back into the first round to draft quarterback Ty Simpson. And that would have been a plan for the Arizona Cardinals that would have made sense to go out there and get who a lot of people consider the best player in the draft in Jeremiah Love. And then later in the round, you go and draft Ty Simpson by trading back into the round. And then you bring him on to a team that already has a solid offensive line, already has one of the best tight ends in the game, already has Marvin Harrison Jr. and a couple other wide receivers. You pair that young quarterback with the guy like Jeremiah Love for an offensive head coach who they got in LaFleur, they just picked up, and that's something that you can roll with. But then the next surprise hit us right dead in the face when the Los Angeles Rams went out there and selected quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama. I did not see this one coming, but it absolutely makes sense. It's always been said, and it is very cliche. You draft the quarterback when you want one, not necessarily when you need one. And right now, the Rams are in win now mode. And what better way to have a young quarterback come in, sit behind Matthew Stafford, learn from Sean McVay, and then potentially when Matthew Stafford retires at the end of the season, at least that's the belief, Ty Simpson can step right in and go ahead and continue this run for the Los Angeles Rams with the bevy of assets that they already have on this team. They definitely went and said F those picks with some of the players they acquired. But then if you have an opportunity to have Ty Simpson start in the future, you kind of reset a lot of that money and you can continue to add on to your team. So really, really good thing for the Los Angeles Rams, in my personal opinion. But that selection for Ty Simpson, what the Rams did was very, very surprising in my personal opinion. The next thing I look at is that I look at the amount of offensive linemen that were selected in round one. There were a total of 9 offensive linemen selected in round one on day one, 7 offensive tackles, and 2 offensive guards. It was crazy. It was one of those things to where you looked at the mock drafts and you kept seeing defensive player after defensive player. But hey, I love the trenches. I do a lot. I give a lot of respect to the big boys in the trenches, and I thought it was going to be heavily defensive. These teams showed us that no, we had you guys fooled, and we believe that a lot of these defensive tackles, defensive edges were more likely or more better fit to be day two picks. And that is coming up later tonight. So you go ahead and make sure that you are following us and you are subscribed and have your notification bell turned on, because it's going to be a heavy, heavy defensive day, at least in my estimation, as we're currently breaking this down and talking about it all. The next surprising move was Caleb Banks going to the Minnesota Vikings. I did not expect that. Me personally, I expected Caleb Banks to fall in this year's draft. He was with Florida. He ultimately had a foot injury. He did come back and play 3 games after that foot injury. And then during the combine process and during that entire draft process, Caleb Banks, there were a lot of concerns regarding his foot and how is it healing. And then just a couple days ago, kind of about a week ago, his medical records, according to a number of sources, were sent to teams to let them know that he's progressing in the right direction. And the Minnesota Vikings shocked the world by taking Caleb Banks early in the first round. And I do love the kid's attitude. I do respect him coming back off of that foot injury. When he could have sat out the remainder of the season. So I give a lot of love to him, but it definitely was a surprise for me. The next surprise, I gotta talk about the Philadelphia Eagles taking Makai Lemon. Well, more so, Makai Lemon falling to the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is a move that they traded up for, which makes a lot of sense. And it also just pretty much gives us the idea that AJ Brown days are numbered. Once June 1st hit, we can just start counting down to when we should be receiving breaking news from Ian Rappaport, from Adam Schefter, whoever it may be, that AJ Brown has been traded to whoever. That move right there for the Philadelphia Eagles helps their offense tremendously, in my personal opinion, with the new offensive OC that they are now bringing onto the team. And you add guys like Elijah Moore, you add guys like a Hollywood Brown, and you trade for a guy from the Green Bay Packers. Now you add Makai Lemon, and then you have Devontae Smith, the former Heisman Trophy winner, who can go ahead and take over as wide receiver 1. Good job by the Philadelphia Eagles. Crazy work that teams did not take Makai Lemon. And shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles, because they seem like they always strike gold when nobody expects them to strike gold. Shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman, because he always cooking. If you wanted to go to Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay, you can guarantee Howie Roseman is right there selecting something that's going to be good on the menu. And that was a big steal. Now I got to talk lastly about the winners of the day. The winners of day one of the NFL draft is the New York Jets. Number one, you trade back into the first round and select wide receiver Omar Cooper out of the University of Indiana with the 30th pick. And then you go out there and you draft a tight end in Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon. And then you get one of the best, if not the best pass rusher in this year's draft in David Bailey out of Texas Tech. The New York Jets, they cooked up something. The biggest question is, though, can they make it work with Aaron Glenn? That's the biggest question. I have the New York Jets winning day one of the NFL draft for the number of moves and how they were so aggressive, because their offensive line is pretty solid if we keeping it a buck. The biggest question is the quarterback position. Yes, they have Geno Smith, but they also needed a number of players to fill out on this roster that will help them compete. No one is expecting the New York Jets to take a huge leap, but you definitely want to see some improvement from last year. So you go out there and you get a really good wide receiver in Omar Cooper, a really good tight end kind of hybrid type guy in Kenyon Sadiq, and then you get a pass rusher like David Bailey. Crazy work. And I know they probably was looking at Ty Simpson. He was off the board before they even could even have a chance to get him. But hey, I still say really, really solid day. If you are a New York Jets fan and you're watching day one, there's still a lot of things that need to go out there and shake out for a number of teams as we continue to move through the draft. Day two is taking place later today in Pittsburgh, and you know we're going to be right here to break it all down. But that is it for me today. I appreciate y'all for tuning in into another episode, man. Hey, we about to see who out there is about to continue to make some moves. More trades on the way. We go see. But hey, man, hit that like button, subscribe button, and y'all already know I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.